Have you ever wondered what you're missing out on by surrounding yourself with voices that are similar to your own? Imagine tapping into the power of diverse perspectives, expanding our ability to make decisions, and elevating your leadership impact. Today, I'll show you how embracing diverse voices can not only transform your team, but your entire leadership approach. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Welcome everybody to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. I am your host, John Espinosa. Today, we are going to talk about how including diverse perspectives in our leadership group, in our circles, on our teams, is going to give you the power as a leader to make better decisions, to get better insight, and ultimately to lead your team, your business, and your organizations better. I am sure that you've experienced a situation of what I like to call groupthink. Everybody's sitting around a table and the leader makes a comment. The leader talks about a particular challenge within the group, and everybody around the table pauses and waits for the leader to give them direction. Or better yet, the most senior person in the group gives their opinion, and then everybody around the room agrees with that. What did that feel like for you? Was that a team that you felt was growing? Was that a team that you felt was innovating and on the cutting edge? Because for the most part, those teams, they accelerate pretty quick, but they reach a stall point. And that stall point usually comes when we need to rethink what we're currently doing. We need to re-engineer the process. So today, we are going to give you some actionable things that you can do as a leader to ensure you have diverse perspectives, diverse voices around the table, especially when you need to make those critical decisions. Another aspect of this, and I know you've been a part of it, put yourself in a big project that is just getting ready, maybe even something that you don't even know what the project looks like. And you're sitting around the table and everybody's throwing out ideas. And you got some people that are very good ideators. I'm one of those. I'm a builder. I love to ideate. I love to throw out ideas. I love to brainstorm. I love to try to figure out what the future looks like. I liken it to putting a puzzle together without having the top of the box, without having the picture of what the puzzle looks like. That's what I would consider an ideator, a big idea person. And then you have folks around the room that are implementers. So they take those big ideas and they put them into action. They start figuring out, all right, what do we need? What resources? How many people? What is this going to look like? And then once you get it implemented, I like to call the sustainers. Those are the ones that they sustain the process. They sustain the system that you're going to put in place. And then at the very end or the tail end, you have those continuous improvers. So they're always looking for ways to continuously improve. Where are your bottlenecks? How can you get better? But each one of those individuals bring a unique perspective to the table. Just imagine with me, if you've been in a situation where you got a bunch of big idea people sitting around the table. What does that look like? What does that feel like for you? Because if I surrounded myself with like-minded people, with people who think like I do, with people who have my same background, we'd just come up with a bunch of big ideas and maybe get to implementation. But I will tell you, we will never get into sustainment. Why? Because that's the way our brains work. That's the way that we're programmed. So it's important for you as a leader to surround yourself with the ideas, with the implementers, the sustainers, and then those that are continuously improve that process. So I want you to keep that in mind as we're going through each one of these next 3 steps, because I'm going to talk about each one. And then, as always, get your pens and your journals out, because I want this to be an active participation, an active listening session. This podcast is all about giving you practical tips for you to go and implement tomorrow. So figure out what day 1 looks like, and then just don't miss 2 days in a row. So let's get into this first one here. The first one is about enhancing innovation and creativity. So when we talk about the power of diverse voices, one of the key benefits of having people who think differently is the power of creativity, the power of being able to innovate. And one of the things that I see a lot of organizations do, especially startups, is they get a bunch of idea people. They get a bunch of builders that build a company. And then as that company is scaling, they will get to a point where now they need to get in sustainment and they need to get into continuous improvement. And that's where they begin to fall short. So in order for us to stay creative, in order for us to continue to innovate, we must seek out individuals with varied backgrounds. And this is difficult to do because in order to seek those individuals out, we have to either hire them or we got to go join a team with somebody who thinks differently than we do. And when we even have a conversation with somebody, this is what it feels like. Imagine going to have a conversation with somebody who you would consider the exact opposite, the exact polar opposite of you. What does that feel like? Just put yourself in that situation right now. Feels a little awkward, doesn't it? Maybe like you can't get a word in, or what you're saying, you just don't feel like it's sinking in. That's what it feels like whenever you have somebody who you surround yourself that thinks differently. So again, leadership is all about becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. So in those types of situations, that's where we got to center, become self-aware, and make sure that we're recognizing our thoughts and the way that we're communicating. So when we talk about implementing this creativity and innovation, one of the key things I like to do is create these diverse dialogue sessions. And a lot of times I do this at the beginning of the project. Once you get to know your team, once you get to know the organization, you'll get a good idea of who your implementers are, who your big idea folks are, who your sustainers are. But let's just say you're a new leader to an organization, or you really haven't got a lot of experience in the organization. How are you going to figure that out? These diverse dialogue sessions will allow you to do it. And just do something simple. I like to use the peanut butter sandwich analogy. So stick with me here. I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but ask somebody how they make a peanut butter sandwich. In fact, ask them the steps. How would you teach me how to make a peanut butter sandwich? You're going to find out real quick the diversity within your team because you just never know where they're going to start. They may start with the bread, or you may start with actually opening up the sandwich package, untying the tie, putting out the bread. Then when you get to the peanut butter and jelly, this is the good part. What do? Put the peanut butter on one bread and the jelly on the other bread and then put it together? Or do you put both on the same bread? This is what I'm talking about by creating those diverse dialogue sessions. It doesn't have to be about anything work related. It can be as simple as, how are you going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You're going to really learn a lot about your team and the way that they think. Okay? So those are great. Diverse dialogue sessions. The other thing here is, as a leader, we need to catch when diverse perspectives are being shared, and we need to reward that behavior. So again, you're sitting around a table. Maybe it's in the process of, all right, this is what we're seeing. This is a challenge that we have. I want to hear some solutions. I want to hear some ideas. Let's brainstorm. And people are going around the room. And a lot of times people, again, will get in that group think mentality. This is your opportunity as a leader to look around, see who's participating, see who's thinking, because again, sometimes people need a processing time, and then make sure that you encourage diverse perspectives. A way to do this, all right, time out, guys. I'm noticing that we're leaning in to a particular way. Put yourself on the other side of that argument. What does that look like? So it challenges the group to think differently, and it encourages someone who's already thinking differently to speak up. See how that works? A great way to encourage people with diverse perspectives to speak up a little bit. You give them permission. You allow them to lean into that situation. So those are some practical applications when we talk about enhancing innovation and creativity. Let's talk about the next one. I want to take a quick break from our discussion today to mention a couple things. First of all, thank you for listening. Only 50% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. Do me a favor, click on that subscribe button. It's going to allow our channel to continue to grow and give you updates whenever we get new episodes published. The second thing is our coaching program. People who want to work with me are looking to make a lasting change, level up, or get unstuck. I gave up on my dreams. I was a young parent, had to make a couple career changes. I went through some financial hardships. I had to learn how to flip my mindset and stay consistent. Our coaching programs are individualized one-on-one sessions where I will teach you a proven system and guarantee that you can reinvent yourself over and over again. If that sounds like something that interests you, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com and sign up to get more information. Now back to the show. The next one is strengthening our ability to make decisions. And again, this is important as a leader. Leaders need to make decisions. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Not making a decision is a decision, okay? So as we talk about some practical applications here, we need to ensure that we have, as leaders, diverse inputs, specifically when we're making key decisions. Again, back to that table. You ask for solutions to a problem that you all are experiencing. I would ensure if you've built a team, if you are surrounding yourself in your business with people, you need to make crystal clear that everybody around that table has an opportunity to provide input. Because guess what? At the end of that meeting, you're going to ask for alignment, you're going to ask for clarity, and you're going to walk away from that table, and everybody doesn't have to agree with that decision, but we all own the decision. This is your opportunity to share if you feel differently. Make sense? So here, very important, take a pause, look around the room, make sure everybody has had an opportunity. Sometimes it's like, John, you know what? I just don't have anything to add here. I think everything's been said. In my opinion, I agree with Susie, or I see it similarly as she does. Another really good application here is practice reflective listening. And this is what I mean by pausing. Okay. So you are going to validate the quiet and even the dissenting voices. So those are just kind of like making noises or like sitting over there with their arms crossed. Have you been there? Maybe you're the one that's sitting over there with your arms crossed. A conversation's happening. Maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe it's something that you proposed and now it's finally getting brought to the table, right? And so you're like, well, I just said this 3 weeks ago or a year ago. Finally, it's finally being brought. Embrace that opportunity. Sometimes it's not turning the speedboat change. We're turning this big, huge freight boat change. Okay. But as a leader, practice your reflective listening skills and go around the table, ask them for input. Hey, I haven't heard from John. John, would you mind sharing something? What do you think? Can you see yourself getting on board if they're a dissenting voice in the room? So that's a great way to make sure that everybody is in alignment and back to that congruency. And then rotate team leadership roles. This is something that I like to do on a regular basis with primary and secondary roles within organizations. It gives a great opportunity to cross-train and it allows people to step up into leadership roles that ordinarily they wouldn't volunteer for. So you're challenging them. Again, back to the diverse thought. You want people to experience different sides of the coin. And one of them is being in a leadership role. Not everybody can be in a leadership role and be comfortable the first time, the first day. We have to build leaders. Our mission here is to help others get to where they're going. And a lot of that is going to take leadership opportunities and leadership skills. So rotating team leadership roles is an excellent way, again, to strengthen that decision making and then empower them once they're in that leadership role to make a decision and go with it. Trust them. Very, very powerful for team building. The last area I want to talk about is building this inclusive and resilient team that you are going to use as your diverse sounding board. One of the things that leaders tend to do is we tend to lose focus on the fact that we need diverse voices around us to become better leaders. And what we focus on is where we put our energy. And if we're not focusing on creating resilient and diverse teams, that's not where our energy is going to be. So make sure if this is something that you're already saying, yeah, I don't do a lot of this. This isn't something that I really even pay attention to. Now's the time to probably look at what are you going to do to implement some of these applications that we're getting ready to talk about. So the first one here, mentorship opportunities. Pair people together, going back to the how are you going to make me a peanut butter and sandwich, right? Dialogue. Pair people together that almost are complete opposites and allow them to mentor each other. Inspire them to figure out a problem that you may have. Empower them to make a decision together. Builds consensus with them. Teaches them again back to, I know you think differently. Let me hear your views on this because this is what I'm thinking. We have to model that. We have to coach that. And by coaching as a leader, we pair people together and allow them to mentor each other. So that's one of the ways to build inclusive and resilient teams. Another way is just to regularly assess the team. When you're around, again, the table and you notice your team talking or working through something, what are you seeing? That's a time to assess. It's not a time to break out your checklist and your feedback list, but just sit back and watch. Are they interacting with each other? Is somebody holding or withholding information that you know they have to add to maybe the solution to the problem or the challenge that you're putting on the board, putting on the table? That is your opportunity to assess the situation and how the team is interacting with each other. And then last but not least, training around resiliency, training around inclusivity is important. We've gotten away from that. In the past 4 to 5 months, inclusivity has taken a back seat to everything else. It's almost a bad word to say within an organization. I don't like it. Inclusivity is all about diverse thinking. It's all about making sure that people are centered and come around one purpose, one mission, and one vision for an organization. And we are stronger together. We're not stronger when we all have a groupthink mentality and all you have around the room is a bunch of yes people. That is not going to provide value to you as a leader. And maybe you're there. Maybe you're on a team. Maybe, in fact, you're the leader. Inclusivity and diversity isn't just about ethnicity. It's about surrounding ourselves with people who think differently, who feel differently, and act differently than we do as leaders. It's important to hear all of that, to understand that diversity is okay. It builds resiliency in a team. It unites a team. I've had teams that all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and those are some of the best teams that I've had the opportunity to lead, had the opportunity to be a part of, and had the opportunity to work with as a coach and a mentor to see them thrive, because that's what it's about. When diverse voices speak, visionary leaders listen. I hope that this episode has helped you today. Create diverse voices around you. It's only going to increase your leadership impact and change the whole way that you approach problem solving, brainstorming, and in the end, getting the results that you need to get done. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.